Welcome back. You're watching The Globe. Envoys from Mali's neighbours, led by a former Nigerian president, Goodluck Jonathan, were scheduled to arrive in Bamako on Wednesday. They are moving in to mediate in an escalating political crisis ahead of new high-risk protests. Representatives from the 15-nation economic community of the West African states are having to bridge apparently irreconcilable differences between President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita and a protest movement that is demanding his resignation. Well, fresh protests have been set for Friday, a week after demonstrations that ignited 3 days of clashes with security forces, leaving 11 dead and 158 injured. The so-called June 5 movement, an alliance of political, social and civil society leaders gathered around a powerful imam named Mohamed Dicko, is tapping into deep-seated anger. Malians are worried and frustrated by an 8-year-old jihadist insurgency that has claimed thousands of lives and driven hundreds of thousands from their homes and swept into Niger and Burkina Faso. Many are also incensed at perceived government corruption and the outcome of long-delayed parliamentary elections in March and April that handed victory to Keita's party. We do have now Kassoum Coulibaly, Malian Economist and Strategist, to join us on the line. He is in the capital, Bamako. A very good evening to you, sir. We thank you very much for your time. Essentially, just take us through what the situation is on the ground as we speak.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this conversation about Malian situation. Now, today it's quite peaceful than the last day, which was very, very hard between the security forces and the citizens of Mali who are frustrated about the governance and corruption situation in the country. Though today is very peaceful, but in some places in Bamako, people are still struggling to fight to break the circulation, the traffic inside the city. And tonight, we welcome the former President Goodluck Jonathan from Nigeria, who is leading a delegation from the ECOWAS Commission to try to find a solution between the two parties. Yeah. So the opposition coalition is also determined to organize on Friday, next Friday, a big meeting again to celebrate the people who have been killed by the police agent last weekend.
In terms of ongoing developments, we know that some political leaders were released. Are there any more that are still remaining behind bars?
It's difficult now to see the development of the situation, because some political parties who were close to the President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita and all of his ruling coalition has decided to speak louder and to ask the president and his power to let the prime minister resign, and to also ask to the president to end the term of MPs who has been elected quite a month or 2 months ago. And also, there is a new development also, because the son of the president was the head of the Defense and Security Commission inside the National Assembly, and also resigned, about his position. So this is some new development. And we can see at the opposition coalition, more and more people coming from the other side, the president level, are coming to grow this coalition, so that people are still being strong to fight against the president now. So but the dialogue, which will begin tonight and tomorrow and maybe on Friday, we can see that the coalition opposition is taking the power and to continue to ask the president himself to resign. That is the last decision, and what they are planning to get from this fight from each other.
Now, Mr. Coulibaly, can you give us more information on some political leaders being released from prison and if there are any other political leaders that are still currently behind bars?
No. Today, all of the political leaders who have been arrested by the power has been all released yesterday and the day before yesterday, and now all of them are free for the movement. And some people who the phone has been, taken by the policemen has been also given back to them. And now everybody is free now, and I'm not sure the government is already continue to arrest anyone before the end of the dialogue, facilitated by the ECOWAS head of states, led by the President Jonathan, former president of Nigeria.
Can you take us through the nature of the dialogues that are currently taking place and what the makeup of these talks are going to be?
In the plan of this dialogue, I think that the former president Goodluck Jonathan will going to meet all of the stakeholders first. And the first group we is going to meet is M5 coalition leaders first, and also is going to welcome the civil society coalition. Is going to lead the religious leaders who are organized to facilitate the dialogue inside the government. Is going to meet in another hand the president himself, and also to meet to have a direct dialogue with the conservative Imam Mahmoud Diko, who I think that is the main person in front of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita now. So the meeting will be to meet all of the stakeholders as much as possible, included the representative of the ECOWAS in Bamako, and also the AU representative in Mali, and also the United Nations organization mission who is leading for the peace building in Mali. So that will be the plan of the dialogue process. But at the end of the mission, there will be organized a meeting and to make a draft on the kind of a solution the government and the opposition coalition can have as an agreement to solve this problem forever.
Now, Mr. Coulibaly, facing popular anger over the deaths of protesters, we heard that Mali's Prime Minister had on Monday also then ordered an investigation into the alleged role of the security force contingent on the ground. Do we know when these investigations will commence?
The chief of staff of the Prime Minister has sent a letter to the ministry in charge of security forces to ask them who has authorized the special anti-terrorist forces to participate on that fight between the citizens and the policemen. And this letter was sent 2 days ago, and we are welcome the answer first of the ministry, from the ministry side. But also some human rights organization has requested an independent investigation on who has decided to bring those special forces in that struggle between the two parties. It's very difficult. When you see the history of the investigations in Mali and generally in Africa, sometimes we don't have a nappy hand. And it's very difficult to say that when a policeman come people and killed more than 20 people who are just asking their rights without guns, it can be something very ashamed in the country, and any human rights defender can accept this kind of situation in any democracy in this 21st century. So we hope that the international community can help us to have an international independent investigation process so that we can know exactly what has been done to have to this situation in last weekend.
Mr. Coulibaly, we thank you very much for your time this evening. Kassoum, Mr. Coulibaly, Malian Economist and Strategist, joining us via the phone line there from the capital of Bamako with regards to the unrest currently taking place in Mali.